In today's gaming news, SWTOR lets you level fast with the story boost, Dragon Age Inquisition has hundreds of hours of content, and the reveal of Hatred is met with lots of hate. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Force here with your day's gaming news. First up today, in celebration of their upcoming expansion, Star Wars The Old Republic is letting you level incredibly fast. With the class story leveling event, if you pre-order the Shadow of Revan expansion and subscribe, you will earn 12 times the experience from class missions. This is enough to let you play through the game all the way to level 55 by only doing main story missions. Now their idea behind this is similar to what WoW is doing for the Warlords of Draenor and giving people free level 90s. They're giving you a way to quickly get to that max level and experience the new content for this upcoming expansion. And I have to say, I stopped playing Star Wars The Old Republic like I stopped playing many games, but from that game, I really enjoyed the story content. So if this is an opportunity for people to get to see those different individual class stories quickly without having to do the side mission fluff that is involved in leveling plus the grinding, I guess that's a pretty neat experience. Now, obviously in doing this, you'll be missing out in a lot of sort of the world building that takes place and experiencing all the different areas of these zones. Since you'll be leveling so fast, you'll likely be skipping a lot of that extra content. It's still something that is going to let people come back, get to max level quickly, and check out this expansion, which again is exactly what BioWare is trying to do. Next up, Dragon Age Inquisition will evidently have hundreds of hours of available content for you to experience. Speaking with Polygon, BioWare producer Cameron Lee said that Inquisition will take players between 150 to 200 hours to complete all of the content. He said that people could burn through it and just do the main path, but we wanted to have a world that's fully immersive and well-defined for you to explore, discover, and get involved in. So while you could probably do the main story stuff in just a few hours, I guess similar to the first topic that we talked about, there is going to be a lot of extra stuff on the side, and evidently up to 200 hours of extra stuff for you to dive into and really get yourself immersed within this world. So I love a deep immersive RPG experience as much as anybody else, but it really comes down to the available time that you have to dedicate to that one single game. And for people who jump in, play Dragon Age Inquisition and like the experience, this is great news because there's a lot for them to see. But for people who play a multitude of games and may not have those 200 hours to devote to a single one, that means they're just, there's going to be that world there that they can explore eventually, but they probably won't see all of it unless they can dedicate those 200 hours of time. Last up in news today, I wanted to talk with you guys about a newly announced game known as Hatred that's really riling up the internet. Hatred is an isometric shooter, but the kicker is that it's a game that's about killing mass amounts of civilians and law enforcement. It also features some really over-the-top, gruesome finisher moves in which there's helpless victims that you're just offing with knives and guns and all sorts of things. So this is a very violent game, and the trailer is just incredibly over-the-top. And again, the setting is you're playing as this dark and brooding character. The world has wronged him, and he's seeking revenge. So it shows him just stepping out of his front door and a mass of civilians that he just mows down. This is clearly a very touchy subject, especially since whenever real-life violence like this happens, video games seems to be something that the media likes to point to and political figures like to point to as saying, oh, I wonder if this is what's causing our kids and people to do these violent things. And this game in particular will no likely raise that debate once again. Now, what I want to talk with you about, there's always going to be the discussion that links media to violence, whether it's, movies, books, theatrical performances, video games, music, all of this stuff where whenever an artistic vision is presented that can potentially be violent, there seems to be that discussion around if this is actually causing violence to exist. Now, I am of the mind that that is not the case, but just to have this conversation, I still think is important. Now, when I think about these violent real-life acts that take place, I think they stem from a few things. I think they stem from miscommunications, misunderstanding, just being ignorant, lack of education. And then there's also just the other mental aspect of just people who are psychotic, sociopaths, people who lack empathy for other living things. These are what I believe, and then just your environment growing up and how you're raised and taken care of and whether or not you were loved. These are the things that I think lead to violence, your experiences and then your mental state. I don't think that watching a movie or reading a book or playing a video game is going to lead anyone to go out and do a violent thing. I myself have been playing violent and gruesome and gory video games since I was a child, and I might be one of the least confrontational people that you know. When it comes to fight or flight, I'm more inclined to flight. Whenever just an uncomfortable situation comes up, I'm always like, okay, I'm out of here, see you later. And I've been playing violent video games, and I'm still to this day constantly playing violent video games. So, I'm not here to have sort of the scientific discussion about whether or not there's a link between those two things. But what I am here to say is that the violence in media is just something, I guess, to be looked at with the understanding that this is an artistic interpretation or an artistic discussion or conversation that the developer or the creator of whatever it is we're talking about is putting out for the world. And this is no different. Much like many of the games that we play today, they are incredibly violent. Now, this one in particular has got the premise of being somebody who's crazy and hell-bent on destruction, hurting innocent people, and that's obviously a terrible thing in a real life situation, but in a video game, I would say that this is no different than any of the other violent, gory, gruesome games that are out there that are released almost every week. That's just my thoughts on the topic. Thanks guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of The Feed. As always, please be sure to comment in the comment section below about any of the topics discussed here today. Will you go back to check out Star Wars: The Old Republic and level up through that story content? How do you feel about the fact that Dragon Age Inquisition will have up to 200 hours of stuff to explore? I guess it depends on how fun that stuff is. And the reveal of hatred, the internet's just sort of violent opposition to it, and then violence in games and media in general. How do you feel about the topic? I'm sure people have lots to say. Thanks again, guys. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I will see you tomorrow. Once again, this has been Force, and you have just been force-fed. It's kind of funny because on one hand, we've got a story about a BioWare game where they're incentivizing you to skip a lot of their content. And on the other hand, we've got a story of a BioWare game where they're saying there's hundreds of hours for you to explore. It just shows you how much they value one over the other.